disciples of the Watch.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the Disciples of the Watch podcast, where we talk rock and metal and play tunes from independent artists from all over the globe. And now your hosts, Gene Vogel and Nate Matnich.
Disciples, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Disciples of the Watch.
In this episode, we're going to share some music, chat some news, and we'll wrap the show with 10 amazing metal albums that follow controversial ones, which is a list by Metal Injection. I'm Nate Matnich.
And I'm Gene Vogel. Thank you for joining us. Also on this episode, we'll enjoy some independent music from Silas Fernades and Mezzrow, the band Mezzrow. But before we get to all that, we got to play some catch-up, Nate. What the hell's been going on with you lately?
Not a ton of interesting stuff. It's winter time. Even though we've been having like 60 and 70 degree weather out here.
Oh, nice.
So it's been pretty nice start to the winter, actually. But I'm continuing to practice the mridangam, which is the classical Indian drum. And I'm doing practices, lessons as well as practicing. So, I listen to the guys that are really good, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know, what am I even doing? But every time I sit down to play, I've got some improvements. So. And really my goal is just to be able to play at our meditation center when we do like live chanting and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to be like a touring musician or anything like that.
Right. You just got to learn to walk before you start to run. That's anytime you're learning a new thing like that.
Yeah, it's a very highly specific instrument. So it's interesting and, different, similar to like meditation or anything else that comes out of India like that. There's different lineages of teachers that have different ways of expressing on the instrument. So yeah, I don't know, it's really fascinating, but I'm having fun with it. So I've been doing that. I watched this documentary called Rubble Kings the other day. I kind of wanted to mention. Are you familiar with the movie The Warriors?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I figured. So apparently that is really, based on some true events. This documentary talks about that. Basically it covers like the late 60s and into the 70s when New York was in really bad shape. It was tons of poverty, especially like in the Bronx and the Lower East Side and Brooklyn and, the boroughs, and how, these gangs formed to take care of each other. And it was pretty brutal. Like people would get killed and the cops would just come in in riot gear and take the body out and leave. There's no investigation, no nothing, because they were likely going to get killed themselves. But then also the New York Police Department was highly corrupt during those days. So it's pretty crazy. But they have gang members who are still living that they interview on there and talk about what it was like and why that all developed. But there was a group called the Ghetto Boys, and they were more like peacemakers, or they tried to be peacemakers, and one of them got killed. And that's kind of what the impetus was for the movie The Warriors, when you had kind of got everybody together and was trying to unite all the gangs. All that stuff was really happening. There were people who were trying to like say, hey man, we can all unite instead of fighting each other and go after the man, because they were strong. I mean, they had tons and tons of gangs on every block. There was like different gangs they were talking about. So very interesting actually. And then as like that gang culture kind of faded out, they started, some of those guys became DJs, which eventually turned into hip hop and stuff. So they talked a little bit about that, which I thought was interesting. And the other interesting thing was they emulated the Hells Angels. So a lot of those guys, wore vests with their gangs, insignias on the back, similar to, like motorcycle club colors. And even, the black and Puerto Rican gangs had like swastikas and stuff all over their vests because, the Hells Angels had that stuff and they were really emulating them. And I thought that was interesting that they even talked about that on the documentary. But they were basically like, those guys were like total outlaws and they were trying to be total outlaws. So they just completely emulated those guys. So it's on Amazon Prime. You have to rent it, or I bought it. It was like $7 or something, the digital copy. I definitely recommend it if you've seen the movie The Warriors and you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm adding it to my list right now.
I also picked up Harley Flanagan's Wired for Chaos documentary. I was a little hesitant of it, and I probably didn't need to buy it, but I did. Again, he's from New York, and he came up in a time when New York was really dangerous and sketchy. and was the Cro-Mags were one of the pioneer hardcore bands up there early on with like Bad Brains and stuff like that. And he kind of went through some really fucked up shit. His mother was like a total hippie, and so he was exposed to all kinds of stuff that he probably shouldn't have been at a young age. And even he says, like, I knew about sex way before I ever should have known about sex, that kind of stuff. So talks about actually being sexually assaulted by a dude. He got drugged. Him and his friends used to hang out with this dude, and then one time he went over there by himself, and some shit went down. And
oh, damn.
Then he was, he's a white dude living in the Lower East Side, which was predominantly Puerto Rican gangs, and so he was constantly running for his life because, if you ain't clicked up, they're coming after you. And he just, at some point, he went to like Ireland, I believe, and met skinheads and got into skinhead culture and got into fighting and becoming really violent and aggressive. And there's a time where like Henry Rollins is being interviewed on there, and he's just like, at some point, Harley became kind of a dude, like you didn't really want to be around him. So I thought that was interesting. Huh. The other interesting part of the documentary is, him and John Joseph had a huge, they lived on the streets and came up together and were in the Cro-Mags together, but they've had a falling out, and they've still got beef and stuff going on. And I wondered if Harley would even talk about him at all. And he did actually talk about it. And he talked about how they don't get along, but that they used to survive together on the streets. And it's a trip because they would go on tour with like Motorhead, and then they would come home to New York, and they were living in squats and shit in the Lower East Side, and me being a kid watching anybody like on MTV or anything, you think everybody's living this glamorous life, but here these dudes are fucking homeless and selling drugs and doing robberies and shit.
Can a vegan have beef?
I don't know. What do you call that?
I don't know. I was hoping you knew.
I don't know, man. That's funny. Yeah. So anyways, it's an interesting documentary. I'd suggest it, I guess if you're into that scene, the punk rock scene, and kind of talks about all that. And they also talk about, I don't remember if it was Rollins, but like Ice-T's on there, Henry Rollins, I think HR from the Bad Brains. There's some other people on there too that were interviewed, but there was a comment that, punk rock was fun, but hardcore was dangerous, a little scary, And then it kind of went on to be like, I think Henry Rollins was saying this, that it became kind of like a bunch of jocks, a bunch of tough guys just wanting to beat people up and stuff like that. And so, Henry's not really, even though Black Flag, like, especially his first album that he sang on Damaged is like, that's some dangerous sounding music, But I guess he's a little bit more of a peace and love type dude than Harley was. But I appreciated that he was on there too. So
yeah, interesting.
I'll finally just mention I got some books from Decibel magazine. They've got a number of really interesting books. I got that black metal book I've talked about on here a number of times, but they've got a bunch. And I picked up Swedish death metal, which I have the vinyl box set for. And so when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know there was a book associated with this box set. So I grabbed that. I picked up the Scott Burns Sessions, A Life in Metal, 1987 to 1997. Of course, when I was getting into death metal, it was the stuff he was putting out that I was first getting introduced to, like Obituary and Morbid Angel. Was Morbid Angel involved with him? I can't remember. I know Obituary for sure, but I haven't read any of these. I just got them here about a week ago. And then I got USBM, which is US Black Metal, A Revolution Identity in American Black Metal. So I'm, interested. It covers American black metal bands. So the other book I have isn't necessarily focused on one area because it talks about South America and Norway and all this different stuff. But this one is primarily American black metal. So yeah, otherwise, I got a trip to some hot springs coming up next weekend here right after the holidays. Leslie and I are going away, so I'm excited. It's in the San Luis Valley, which is one of my all-time favorite places to go in the mountains. I've camped up there at the UFO Watchtower and gone to the sand dunes a number of times. We've been to these hot springs a number of times. It's just a really cool place up in the mountains, so I'm really excited to go out there. And that's about it, man. Looking forward to the quiet time over Christmas coming up here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, other than we're hosting family Christmas with Angel's family again this year. Apparently nobody else wants to, so we get to do it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So we're going to have like 40 to 50 people over in our tiny little house.
Holy buckets. That's a lot of folks. Yeah,
it's always a little bit of a hassle, but it's nice to see the family and Plus, I don't have to worry about driving.
Yeah, you're just home. When it's all done, you're just at home already.
Just got to worry about the days of cleanup to follow.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of trips, I just got back not too long ago, just a little over a week ago, a week and a day from California. Had some freaking beautiful weather, which was very unfortunate because we did not plan for how warm it was going to be, because we checked the weather before we left and everything looked like it was decent, like wear pants weather. And we brought, a little bit warmer weather clothes. And then we get to San Jose and we're looking at the San Diego forecast, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's going to get in the 80s and it's going to touch 90 possibly. So we ended up having to go buy some shorts and some short socks. I'm not a guy who can wear those long socks with shorts on. It just feels and looks weird to me. It's funny because when other people do it, it doesn't bother me. But when I'm wearing long socks and shorts and I look down, I can't leave the house that way. It's like, I'm not 90. I can't do this.
It's funny you mentioned that because I typically wear ankle socks if I'm wearing shorts, but sometimes I'll wear longer socks as well. But somewhere along the line, like, that's actually a fashion now. Like, I've actually heard people say, people wearing fucking ankle socks with shorts looks ridiculous. And I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm walking around looking at people. I'm like, oh shit. I don't know, man. It's funny how fads are, but yeah, I typically like to wear ankle socks with shorts.
That's just a Denver thing. I'm calling it out right now.
It could be. It's some weird shit here.
So yeah, beautiful weather, beautiful, great time down, and then we went to San Diego, and then drove to Palm Springs for a memorial for our friend Rick, Fancy Rick. We're really gonna miss that guy, and then we drove back to San Diego, and we had a few more days in San Diego before we had to turn around and fly from our 70s and 80s degree weather that was at the end of the week there back to negative Minnesota weather.
Yeah, I was sad for you, man.
And there was a lot of snow, so I even still had to do a little shoveling. And we had Duncan and the kids staying here, and they were taking care of the snow, but there was still stuff that needed to get cleaned up when I got home. I missed we missed the bulk of it, so I guess that was kind of nice. But the cold weather is always going to be waiting for you unless you're gone through the whole season. There's no escaping it in Minnesota, or in the upper Midwest here.
Yep, no doubt.
But while we were out there, we did watch Nothing But a Good Time, that hair metal series. Have you seen that one, Nate?
Yep, I watched it. It was good.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was pretty neat. And we just started Into the Void, that Hulu series that we watched the Randy Rhoads episode.
Yeah, it's a good series. There's some good episodes in there.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious. We're kind of spacing it out because we did watch all of those episodes of Nothing But a Good Time, but there's like 3 of them. And there's like 8 or 9 of the Hulu, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I watched 7 of those Into the Voids in a row and then watched the 8th one separately. But yeah, I binged those. I had talked about a little bit when I watched it that I just thought it was going to be a lot of rehash stuff, but there's actually some new, fresh type of information, I thought, in the Randy Rhoads, yes. And it was really well done. So yeah, it's worth watching. Absolutely. Yeah. Unless you are deep in the lore and you don't think you need to know anything about Randy Rhoads, it's still, I think, worth your time. Even if you know it all, because maybe there's something you missed. Well, I thought I knew a lot, and then I watched it, and I can't remember specifically some of what was different offhand now because it's been a while. But yeah, there was some fresh information in there. Yeah, and then his sister's in there talking a lot too, so that helps too. Yeah, that's nice. I knew his mom. I didn't really remember much of the family makeup other than his mom because he was so tight with his mom, and he wrote that instrumental for her that was on one of Ozzy's records. D? I don't remember which. Yeah, D. Yeah, it's on Blizzard of Oz. Okay. And still, yeah, need to get back to that one. I'm probably going to save the Dimebag one for last just because I know that's going to be that's going to be the one I want to watch the most, so I'm not going to jump around. I'm going to just kind of look and see what, maybe someone will watch alone, but Angel is watching with me, so we'll see what happens if she sticks with it. If not, I'll just jump and start watching them on my own. It's a little bit of a tearjerker, the Dimebag one. Yeah, you mentioned that, and that's maybe I don't want to watch it with her. Right? I'm going to watch this one alone. I'll be in the room with my tissues. Wait, that might send the wrong message. I was just thinking that before you even said it. Oh, man.
Oh, and I forgot to mention this one. I did go see the Depeche Mode movie in the movie theaters with her. She bought tickets when it was announced, and I don't remember if it was a weekend or if it was a special event, one time only. I don't recall what the situation was, but we did go see it, and it's titled M, and that one's going to be out on Netflix, I think in January, if I'm not mistaken, if it's not out already. But it was filmed when they were in Mexico City. And it's pretty cool because they have these interstitials where they kind of break out and they're going through, they're having different fans talking about what Depeche Mode means to them. And most of them are speaking Spanish, and very, very interesting. And they're a fun band to watch live. They're very good performers, and seen them live. Saw them at the Minnesota State Fair, and that was fun as well. But this was kind of cool because, seeing it in the movie theater.
Was it like a tour? Like they were filming themselves on tour and they got interviews and stuff with people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a tour, but this one they filmed, they had 2 or 3 sold out days in Mexico City. So they filmed the whole thing and put it together for this film to be released. And it's kind of cool. I wish more bands would do that. It's like, go do your tour and maybe film that last one or whatever that special one might be, get out there, get tight with the songs, and then film it. And even if it just goes on DVD, but it's kind of cool to see it in the theater as well. But it's nice because it's like the tour didn't come anywhere near us, and I don't know how close it would have to get. Probably our backyard before we'd want to buy tickets, especially at the cost of tickets nowadays for shows like that or, major traveling events.
Yeah.
But, like even doing that Black Sabbath one, the Back to the Beginning, that was fabulous. I enjoyed that, spending that whole Saturday just watching that whole event unravel. And, that was reasonably priced. And that actually will be coming out, I think, early next year. I forget if they announced when that was going to be released, when that cut up version that they were going to put in movie theaters. And speaking of tickets, I've picked up my Overkill Testament Destruction tickets. Of course, that's not the lineup order, but I put Overkill over Testament any day. And that's the main reason we're going. And Destruction, it'll be very cool to see. And I've been informed that Destruction is great live. I heard that from Josh Kellerman at the KFAI last night, or this morning, I should say. He popped in to visit, and we started talking about that. So that's when he recommended make sure you get there to see Destruction, which I do want to. I want to catch all 3 bands. Testament's always good.
Yeah, they're going to be here on the 18th of March, which is the day before my anniversary. So I don't know what I got going on around that time. I don't know if I'll make it to this one, but yeah, this will be a cool show.
Heck yeah. But I figured I better get my tickets. Well, then I was kind of bummed out because it's at the Fillmore, which is a nice venue. And as soon as the tickets went on sale, I forgot about it for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, it's time to go back to order my tickets. And the page came up and it said, sorry, this event is sold out. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Because I know they did have some pre-sale events and they had balcony seats, but those are like $200 a pop. And I'm like, well, as much as I'd like to get away from, the crowds and be up in the balcony, I'm not paying that price. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And then they have you can get early entry for $20 more per ticket. And it's like, good God, can we stop milking people?
Yeah. They've just monetized like every piece of the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want breathable air? Well, that's another $10 per ticket. Like, oh, you want a bathroom
It's
pass?
like that with airlines too, or flying,
Yeah.
It's crazy. They just figured out a way to milk people out of every possible moment.
Well, it's not helping with, making me want to go to shows. And this wasn't so bad. I mean, I did look at a couple of those and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to pay extra just to get in there and get a drink. Plus the drinks are all overpriced anyhow. So maybe I'll get schnockered before we go or something. Not that I need to. Actually, I even cut back on my drinking. So maybe it'll just be a nice, cheap event with waters.
Right.
Of course, I don't know what those cost nowadays. Those are probably as much
$10
as
a
beer.
bottle.
Yeah. Jesus. But yes, so I'm glad I got my tickets because I had ended up having to refresh the page. So for some reason, when the timer went out, it just went into a sold out status. And I happened to go on Facebook and the Fillmore was like, tickets are on sale. And I'm like, are they already sold out? And then I went back, refreshed the page, and I was like, oh, okay, now I can pick where I want a seat or if I want to go out on the floor. And then, of course, somebody else on Facebook was like, oh, my God, are they sold out? I said, no, you got to just refresh the page and make sure it's the most recent version because that's just how it's all through Ticketmaster, too, unfortunately.
The evil Ticketmaster.
Evil Ticketmaster. Nate, what new music have you gotten lately?
And I got another haul. I got a note
that
here. It says my New Year's resolution is to stop buying so much music at one time. It's been crazy over the last like 6 months, but I like with AI and stuff like that, advertising has just gotten crazy. Like I cannot go on Facebook and not find some cool shit. T-shirts or fucking, music or whatever. Like, and there's all these like record sites coming out now that do specialized, I found one called like VP Reggae, and then there's the Get On Down that does like soul music and some reggae and some hip hop and then, just some of the regular ones too. But it's just like, man, it's tough because I see it and I'm like, oh fuck, I want that, and then I buy it. So anyways, yeah, it's just gotten crazy, but I got to rein it in at some point here. I can't even hardly listen to as much as I'm buying. It takes me, I work out pretty much every night now. So that's when I throw records on a lot, is when I'm working out. So I at least have been keeping up, but it's getting tough. But anyways, I got, so the Grateful Dead had a series of box sets back in the day called Dick's Picks. No, Gene, not those kind of dick pics. And volume 4 is, they're all the way up over like, maybe like 40 volumes. I don't know. Cause there's a volume 36 for sure.
I thought you had more later ones. That's why I saw volume 4. I'm like, is Nate playing catch up?
That's actually Dave's picks. That's a whole nother series of box set live stuff that they've put out. But anyways, volume 4 is one of the most sought after of that series. Like volume 4, volume 36, there's a couple other ones. And of course I found a site scrolling Facebook that had put this out on vinyl. So I bought that box set. It's 6 records. So I'm about halfway through it. It's fucking awesome.
Is that a band your wife likes?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Nice.
I can pop that on when she's around. She digs it. She's actually seen them live.
Cool.
And I never have. So nice thing about the Dead, any of their stuff they put out, the sound quality is fucking phenomenal. So they do a really good job with with whatever's put out that's licensed by them. It sounds really good. I picked up Cream's Fresh Cream mono pressing. I actually got Disraeli Gears coming too in the mono pressing. Since I found out that mono was often recorded completely differently from the stereo versions, I've been seeking some of those out just to have like the contrast. I also have Jimi Hendrix Are You Experienced, the UK mono pressing, which doesn't have Wind Cries Mary, doesn't have Purple Haze, doesn't have Hey Joe, because those were singles and they wanted people to buy the 45s. So they never put those on the album in the UK. And so I'm like, and people say it sounds more like garage rock style in that mono pressing. So I ordered that. Anyways, I got this Fresh Cream. I got it off Discogs and it's fairly expensive. It's an old pressing and the guy had it labeled as near mint. Okay. So I bought it. I get it. It looks really nice, but there's a ton of noise. So I messaged the person. I was a little pissed. I'm like, I said, I'm going to try to clean it. And then I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to try to clean it. I just want to send this back. This isn't graded right. And they're like, well, what if I give you a deep discount? Will that make you happy? My eyes aren't what they used to be. And I'm like, if you read the description on Discogs of what near mint means, they say you should pretty much assume that that's never been listened to or only listened to a couple of times. That's what near mint is. So this was maybe very good rating. There's a lot of sound. So obviously he didn't listen to it. He just looked at it because it looks like it's in nice shape, but there's a lot of noise. So I'm going to put it through the record cleaner and hopefully that gets some of the sound out. They gave me half off. So
does that put it in the very good pricing range then? Or
yeah,
better?
He says, well, what's going to make you happy? So I went and I looked for other people who had ones that were in the very good. And that was about in the $40 range. I paid $70 for the near mint. So anyways, got that squared away. I haven't really listened to it yet because it's some records have a little bit of crackling, but once the music starts, it's not really that noticeable. This is noticeable even when the music's playing. So I got some hip hop records. Ghostface Killah came out with Supreme Clientele 2. It's very old school sounding. I love it. I've been listening to that one a lot. I got UGK Underground Kings, which is a 3 LP set. Another one I've been listening to a ton. And I picked up Black Star's No Fear of Time. I like the first Black Star album. This one is not quite as cool, but it's still cool. I just wanted to have it because they only got like 2 records out. But into my metal stuff, I got a bunch of Minneapolis music. I was turned on to Gates of Dawn, which is a Minneapolis band, and Nate Towell, who was in Wicked Inquisition and Satan Satyrs and is now in Extermination Day, or that's his band that he put together. He was talking about it because I believe the keyboardist from Gates of Dawn, or the bass player, I can't remember which member is playing with him live with Extermination Day. So he's talking about, it's like his favorite album, and it's called, it's under the genre of psychedelic black metal. So me being a fan of psychedelics and psychedelic music, I'm like, I got to hear this. So I got that, and man, it is a fucking awesome album. And the album is called 3. So highly recommend you check that out if you're into black metal. I also grabbed Extermination Day's EP, If Ingested, Consult a Mortician. Nate put this out over during COVID, I remember, and I just now getting around to buying it. It's been out for quite a few years. And he did this with Jason Oberek, who is in Satan Satyrs. And I also got their full-length CD, Be the Consequence. So I got both of those on CD. They didn't have the vinyl. I did get the Gates of Dawn on vinyl, however, but all the online sources were sold out, so I messaged them on Instagram, and I just said, hey, is there a way to get a copy of your record? And they said, yeah, we have some that we like to sell at shows. Send us this much, and we'll send it to you. So I got the vinyl copy of that.
Nice.
Another Minneapolis band, Ossuary Insane, Part 2, Demonize the Flesh. Yeah, I found this on Hell's Headbangers. I was looking for some black metal, and a person that we knew from back in high school, Chris Jacobson, who is no longer with us. He was in this band, and Chris is actually who turned me on to death metal. I remember being at his house, and he was like, dude, you got to check out like Obituary, and he'd named some other bands, and then I went to Northern Lights and found Obituary, and that's what kicked off my whole black metal my death metal obsession. But man, this album is so good. It's up there with any really wicked sounding death metal I've ever heard. And it's just too bad, I guess, that they didn't do more. And I just thought it was cool to find that it's still being pressed and sold,
Huh, yeah.
I picked up Old Funeral, which is a Norwegian black death metal band. I keep wanting to say black metal. I've been so focused on that. But so this was like Varg Vikernes played the bass on some of their demos. And this is a reissue. It's called Our Condolences, 1988 to 1992. It's a double record. Each side is a demo. Side 2 of record 1 sounds atrocious. I was almost like, dude, I hope the rest of this doesn't sound like that, because the first side sounds really cool. That second side's garbage, but the second record, both sides, really cool demos. It's unique because black death metal over there didn't sound a lot like death metal here in the States. Even like the first Dark Throne, Soulside Journey, which was a death metal album, it's got a way different vibe than American. Maybe it's more in line with like Entombed, Left Hand Path. I would say that's like a good comparison as to how some of the early like Norwegian death metal stuff sounded. Picked up Black Sabbath's Dehumanizer. You sent me a link. They had that on sale. I think I got that for like $19.99. So it was a double record set.
It's a great album.
And it's an awesome album. I forget how good it is, and it sounds a lot like what they went on to do with Heaven and Hell when they weren't allowed to call themselves Black Sabbath. Like it's kind of in that same vein. I'll just blaze through a few more here. I got Dark Thrones, Hate Them. I'm continuing to chip away at my Dark Throne collection, which they have tons of albums out. I picked up Beharit, Engram. They're probably like my number 2 favorite black metal band behind Mayhem. They did some ambient records, and then after a couple ambient records, they did this one, which is more traditional black metal. I've been wanting to add that to my collection, and I finally found it in stock. I also got Dissection, Storm of the Light's Bane. This is a unofficial release, and I ended up having to order it from Sweden because even the unofficial copies here in the States are like well over $150. And some of like the original pressings are like $400, $600. It's crazy.
Wow.
It was cool, and it sounds really good. And then I've got Soulfly's Comma, which is an amazing album. I mean, they just blow me away. Soulfly's been around for quite some time. And I feel like they had some albums in the middle that were, less exciting or less intriguing. But, they've had a run here now of 3 or 4 albums that are just fucking phenomenal. And this one, to me, is more along the vibes of what they were doing on their first album. Not quite as chaotic, but it's just more in that vein. I don't know. I really like it. But anyways, that's my haul here since we've last recorded.
Well, I'm going to be not even half that time. While I was in California, I did pick up Van Halen's Live at Wembley from 1995. That was a Record Store Day release. I found that in Palm Springs. I was trying not to do a lot of record shopping just because I can get locked into a store for a long time, and it's like and a lot of times I'm looking specifically for things. But I did pop into this one that I do like that's on the main drag there in Palm Springs, and I've bought a lot of stuff from them almost like every time I go. So I thought I'm going to pop in there and see if I can leave with something. And I was getting ready to walk out, and then I'm like, oh, they got some Record Store Day stuff left over. And right there was Van Halen Live at Wembley. So I thought, oh, perfect. I'm going to take that home.
Is that a Sammy Hagar era, or is that David Lee Roth?
Yes.
Yeah, Sammy.
That is Sammy. And then I ordered the Spinal Tap Smell the Glove vinyl, which is just basically the soundtrack reissued, remastered, and with the Smell the Glove art instead of the black one. It's different Smell the Glove. It's not the one that's in the theater. So, but I thought that was kind of a neat little thing. And
yeah,
God, and I'm assuming you heard about Rob Reiner getting taken out by his kid.
Yep. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's fucking rough, man. That sucks. Him and his wife.
Yep.
Taken out. Oh. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to cracking that open. I haven't had time to really listen to stuff, so I got some catching up to do as far as my actually spinning things. Actually, I just finished, was it BMFD, which is that one cover thing that Blitz did with Mike Portnoy and the guy Phil Demmel, and they do 70s music. But I got in my car on the way home from the record or the radio station this morning, and it for some reason it bumped to my CD player, and I'm like, oh, what do I got in there? I don't even remember. And it went into them doing a cover of DOA from Van Halen, and I was just rocking it on the way home. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to keep on listening to this. This is cool. It was like the perfect driving music to get me home this morning from Minneapolis.
Nice.
So I finally got through that whole thing. It's been a slow, I just listened to so many podcasts and occasional audiobooks too. So that's been part of it, and I'm trying to do research for Time Travel Radio 1983. So that's been, some of my listening has been going through all the stuff that was released in 83 that I'm considering for the episodes. So I am working on it, people. It's not forgotten. It's just taking some time. Another one that actually I was told it was going to be shipped, and I got a tracking notification from eBay, and it never showed up before I left for vacation, which it was supposed to. It gave me a window and said, in the last day will be the day before you leave for vacation. So the next day I just said, hey, what's going on? The tracking still says it's waiting to be received from the label's been printed, and that's it. It hasn't been put into the USPS hands. So I'm like, there's either the tracking number's wrong or something's going on, but it also didn't show up. That's why I thought I'd be patient, go to the end day. Never showed up. So I, go through eBay and say, hey, never got it. And they wait for how many days. And then they finally didn't hear anything. So they said, okay, we're refunding your money. I was like, fuck, that sucks because I really want this box set. And I had a coupon for $10 off from eBay specifically. So I was like, well, this kind of sucks. And then while I was on vacation, then I got a shipping notice. I'm like, what's going on here? What happened? So eBay ended up flipping the refund and then recharged me for it. And then the box set did finally show up. And that was Metal Church Reforged, the remastered collection box set from 1999 through 2013. So that is a big chunk of my Metal Church collection that I now have on vinyl because of this remastered box set. I didn't even know this thing existed until maybe it was an advertisement on Facebook. I don't even remember now. Actually, I think it was somebody in the Metal Church group had posted a picture of it. And I was like, oh my God, I need to go pick this thing up. So it costs a little bit because there's like 6 slabs of vinyl in it or something like that. And it's not even like really strong Metal Church for me. This was kind of the off years with Ronnie, what's his name? Shoot, I can't think of the guy's name now. I was going to say Ronnie Memero, but that's not it. Great singer in the decent albums, but not the stuff that I enjoyed with David Wayne or with with Mike Howe. And actually, by a side note, that new Metal Church song is great. I'm looking forward to that album. But back to this, I'm finally glad to have these. I don't even know if they were ever released on vinyl. Because, Metal Church wasn't on a big label back there. Or, well, they're still not. But, I mean, big compared to, some labels nowadays, like Rising Phoenix.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people putting stuff on vinyl around during that era.
Yeah, exactly. It was everybody's buying CDs, and then everybody started stealing downloads, and then people just started either buying digital or just not buying, buying digital or, just not paying for music at all or getting on streaming services. So this one, it has, I don't know if you remember when we did our worst to best. So I'm going to throw out these album titles. I don't know if they ring any bells for you as far as ones that you enjoyed. Masterpiece with a Peace, The Weight of the World, A Light in the Dark, This Present Wasteland, and Generation Nothing.
I don't recall much. They're not nearly as
big of a draw,
much of an interest for me as they are for you. So
yeah. Masterpiece had the return of David Wayne on vocals. Not a good album, but maybe it'll sound better on remastered vinyl. And Ronnie Monroe, that's the guy's name. I was half right. I had the Ronnie part
on the right track.
Yeah, I was on the right track. Or did I say it right the first time? I don't know. I guess I'll have to learn that when I edit it, because I was thinking of Ronnie, who worked with Rainbow when Rainbow came back out here just a few years ago with Richie Blackmore, kind of revitalizing the live show of the Rainbow Experience. Ronnie Romero, that's who I was thinking of in my brain. So maybe I did say it right the first time.
I think you said Ronnie Romero.
Okay, good. So I was right in being wrong.
You were right being wrong, yes.
And finally, to wrap up, I picked up Soulfly's Comma on CD. I didn't go for the vinyl on that one. Of course, I still need to get through it and listen to it, because you and I are going to break that one down track by track at some point. So that's on my to-do list. The nice thing about that, too, is I can listen to it in my car, where I don't have a record player in my car yet.
Yet. That would be a massive hassle.
Hell yeah, it would. I don't even like bringing records to the radio station. I'd rather just keep it CDs and digital for that.
Yeah.
Less hassle. Keep them at home. Like vinyls for at home. And then finally, I did pick up Neil Sean, Journey Through Time. I had completely forgot about this when Neil got together with various people and recorded early Journey songs and a few other, they kind of go a little, like I said, Journey Through Time. And Special Night, they recorded it, and it's on CD and DVD. So the whole box set, I think I paid $15, and I forget, it's like 3 CDs and a DVD, or maybe it's 2 CDs and a DVD. But for the price, I thought and I did sample it. I went on and checked it out. I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds like it's pretty good, which I expected. I mean, Neil Sean's a professional, and Greg Raleigh, he's part of it too. And that's another reason I wanted to do that. And Dean Castronovo's doing the vocals. He's a drummer. He sings very well. He can pull off a Steve Perry-ish type of voice as well. Very, very good vocalist. And I think he does all the vocals on it. I haven't dug too deep into it, but that's what I'm kind of saving. Either I'll listen to it with the wife, or maybe we'll throw the DVD on and watch it together, because she's a big Journey fan. So, and Neil Sean's a phenomenal guitar player. But that's my list. But Nate, we got to stop talking. We got to start rocking. You ready to spin something for us?
Yeah.
It's time for What's Nate Been Listening To? Where we check in to see what Nate's been listening to lately. And ladies, he definitely likes to share. On the Disciples of the Watch podcast.
I'm really excited to talk about this one further, which is The Gates of Dawn from Minneapolis. I mean, I just can't believe how interesting this album is. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, this is just like, how did these guys even come together with this and then put it in the black metal like genre? So first, I just want to go through who the musicians are in case anybody listening here from Minneapolis, you might know some of these folks. So we got Eric Wivenis on guitar and percussion, Ryan Jansen on bass, keys, upright bass and percussion, Tom Steffes on drums and percussion, Travis Nordahl, guitar, keys, percussion and vocals, Brian Swanson, guitar and percussion. Like everybody's got percussion on here. And then Robert Kramer, pedal steel. Yes, this is a black metal album with pedal steel.
Interesting.
So I want to say, okay, when I first heard of this, I was like, okay, I got to hear this. Because Knockmistium, which is a U.S. black metal band, is also called psychedelic black metal. And I was wondering if it was going to be in that same vein, but it's not. This is the most unique sounding probably black metal I've heard. And at very first listen, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. But then I kept listening because I was like, this is really interesting. Like, what am I hearing in here? And so, listen, this is the stuff I've picked up on. Okay, it's black metal, and it's got this really saturated sound, which if you've, which is great, like psychedelic, just has a psychedelic saturated sound. I don't know how else to describe it. There's elements of 80s pop music, 80s post-punk. There's some Jerry Garcia-esque noodling going on in some of the leads, and even one of the songs it almost sounds like Estimated Prophet from the Grateful Dead. It kind of has like the same, has a similar sound. And I'm not crazy about hearing Grateful Dead in this because I did see somebody else's review who also commented that there's some Grateful Dead sounding stuff on this album. So, okay. I mean, this is such a variety. There's really heavy 70s fuzz, especially on some of the leads. It's super catchy. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh man, I want to hear this piece again. I like keep wanting to go back to it. And they have pedal steel in a black metal album. It is just, this album is fucking awesome. So we're going to do a review of top albums of 2025. And as a spoiler alert, this will definitely be on the list. And I can see why Nate from Extermination Day had also said this is his favorite album of 2025. And I bought it because he was just talking it up so much. And I'm like, God, I got to hear this. So I don't know, man. It is just so unique sounding. And I'm going to play a song called Trembling Gaze, which is like 15 minutes plus long. So settle in for this epic tune. It's probably the longest song on the album.
Of course.
Yeah.
Does it sound like it was recorded in a toaster?
I don't know that I would describe it as being recorded in a toaster. What, did somebody describe it as that?
Okay, like some black metal.
Oh, you mean the black metal? No, this isn't. I think the main black metal parts of it are like the vocal style, of course, is like a, you'll hear that right away and be like, yeah, that's black metal. And then there's some, of the epic like riffing and drumming and stuff. But then there's just all this other stuff is mixed in there. It's so unique, but it's catchy. Okay, it's just not unique in like, it's got hooks, man. It's really hooky. So yeah, check it out, man. I mean, this whole 15-minute tune is just fucking killer from front to back. So enjoy.
fuck, none of the other songs even come close as far as length than what you just played for us there.
Well, I haven't played a really long song in a long time, so I figured it was due. But this song has like a lot of the elements I talked about throughout the song.
So you get the whole album experience in just one track is what you're telling me.
Right. You get the vibe here on this track. Trembling Gaze.
Nice.
The album is 3. Really trippy album cover too, especially if you can get the vinyl because it's a gatefold. Yeah. Nice job. These guys put out a really unique album.
Are they on a label? Because their Bandcamp only has digital.
I don't know what label they're on. I'd have to look at the vinyl again.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. So yeah, they look like they're independent. Very cool. All right, you ready to talk some news, Nate?
I'm ready.
And now, the news on Disciples of the Watch.
Well, here's a story that I almost was going to cut out, but I thought, I'll just leave it in there. It was embarrassing, and there was some fallout, and there was a retraction of sorts. But Gene Simmons, he criticized Ace Frehley's bad decisions and said falling down the stairs doesn't kill you. And if you're looking for one of the most absurd statements of 2025, Gene Simmons has got to be at least a consideration for those words exactly. Especially being an elder gentleman himself, and something happens to your frickin' skull in your brain. Yeah, falling downstairs will kill you. How many people fall downstairs? I wonder what the fucking average is in a year.
It's the leading cause of death amongst
musicians,
amongst guitar players in bands called Kiss.
Or former.
Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, okay, Gene Simmons he's full of himself. He's always been full of himself, and he's always looked down on Peter and Ace. You know what I mean? He's just kind of dogged those dudes because he thinks because he didn't do drugs or whatever that somehow he's some fucking superior, being. It's just I don't know. You got to take it with a grain of salt with this guy and his comments,
Holy crap. 12,000 people, or on average, over 12,000 people die each year from injuries sustained from falls downstairs in the United States. 12,000.
Yeah. Hey man, you could fall and just hit your head and die. Like, you just hit your head in the right way and you're out. That's it.
Yeah. That's why you don't fall downstairs. Hold on to those railings, kids. So yeah, this was very poorly timed and just fucking stupid. Here's the piece that says the rock world is still reeling from the loss of Kiss co-founder and guitar legend Ace Frehley, who passed away this last October after a fall in his New Jersey home studio. While the official cause was confirmed as accidental blunt force trauma, which will happen when you fall downstairs, Nate, Gene Simmons has now opened up about deeper issues he believes contributed to his former bandmate's tragic end. So it was ruled an accident by the medical examiner, Morris County medical examiner, and multiple contusions, skull fractures, hemorrhaging, a subdural hematoma, a type of brain bleed typically caused by significant head trauma. Bruising on his hip, thigh, and abdomen was also noted, along with the revelation that the guitarist had previously suffered a stroke. Toxicology reports were still pending at the time that I copied and pasted this. I'd be curious to see that because Ace, if I'm not mistaken, he's been sober for a long time.
But even if he was drunk or stoned or whatever, it doesn't make it any less sad or tragic.
Exactly.
How many people party? You expect to be not have people mourn you if you die because you were drunk and you fell downstairs or whatever. You know what I mean? And fuck.
Yeah, Gene Simmons could fall off a stripper and rack his brain. He could die the same way. So here is, speaking to the New York Post, Simmons reflected on both the circumstances and the hardships that defined Ace's later years. He says he refused advice from people that cared about him, including yours truly. Of course, he's got to include himself in there, to try to change his lifestyle. In and out of bad decisions, falling down the stairs. I'm not a doctor, doesn't kill you. There may have been other issues and it breaks my heart. And then he talked about the funeral that he attended and all that stuff. And later on, he would have a retraction. And this is what he posted on X. It says, on reflection, I was wrong for using the words I used. I humbly apologize. My hand to God, I didn't intend to hurt Ace or his legacy, but upon rereading my words, I see how it hurt everyone. Again, I apologize. I've always loved Ace, always. So I'm glad he did do like what he normally doesn't do, or, his brother Ted Nugent doesn't do, where they admit they were wrong. They just swim past it. They're like fucking ego sharks, where it's like they just want to say things, have sex with underage girls, and then they want to pretend that what they said doesn't matter, and they just move on. So I'm glad he did fucking circle back on this and go, holy shit, what the fuck was I saying or doing? I mean, the statement alone was just fucking asinine. He should have said, you know what, regardless of what he said about Ace, the fact that he said that people don't die from falling down the stairs is so fucking insanely absurd. It's a movie trope. It's a television trope, Nate, because that's something that can happen. And now, according to the search that I just did, 12,000 people in the United States alone. So, Gene Simmons, what the fuck are you doing? What are you thinking, you idiot?
Gene wouldn't even have the platform of fame if it wasn't for the magic of the original four doing what they did. Yeah, it did fall apart. Yeah. And yes, Gene went on along with Paul. But at that point, they were already famous. If Kiss had just started, after that era, they wouldn't have the fame that they went on to have if it wasn't for the magic of the original four members and the unique sound that they had with Ace. So
yeah, he was a big part of all that. I mean, I know he's had his problems, and not everything he brought to the Kiss table was, always the A quality material, but his was the best solo album that sold between the four. That's a dick measuring contest right there. Yeah. Gene and Paul pulled out, and they pulled up short. Fucking way to go, Ace.
Word. Oh, Kirk Windstein issues update on new Down album. It's going to really be a suck fest. Just kidding. That's not what he said. He said it's going to be a really killer record. Nobody ever says my new album is going to suck. I just find these funny. And, I love Down, and I believe it'll probably be a really killer album. But just everybody who's talking about their new album, it's always going to be the best one, So, working on the long-awaited new studio album from NOLA, supergroup Down, is nearing completion, and guitarist Kirk Windstein confirmed that the band is entering the final stages of production. He revealed that the instrumental foundation, the drums, the bass, and the rhythm guitars is largely complete, with final lead guitar work scheduled this month. We kind of got it set up for Pepper and I to finish all the guitars in November. He doesn't get home till October 27th or something, and we and Crowbar do the Headbangers Boat, but we're home, and we'll be home on the 5th of November, so I'm pretty much ready. Give me 2 or 3 days and we'll start knocking out guitar. While Windstein and Keenan finalize guitars at a separate studio, vocalist Philip H. Anselmo is tackling his parts at his personal home studio. According to Windstein, Anselmo is looking to capitalize on the vocal conditioning built up during the recent Pantera tour. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I imagine he's all kind of, dialed in.
It kind of harkens back to NOLA, because he was with Pantera when they put NOLA out.
Yeah, definitely. Phil's already got it all written and planned out. Drums and bass are done. Rhythm guitars are done. I guess I just got to knock it out while my pipes are good, because that Pantera Amon Amarth tour was long, and I said, yeah, dude, just go on for a while. You're feeling good. I mean, he can do it at his own schedule, at his own pace. It's going to have 10 tracks. Windstein expressed high confidence in the material, noting that for established followers of the band, the album delivers exactly what is expected. It's 10 tracks, and it's got great ideas on all of them. It's going to be a really killer record. It's either going to totally be this huge thing or just flop. But if you're a Down fan, I don't see how you cannot like it. Well, thanks for pointing that out, Kirk. It's either going to be a flop or you're going to love it.
Yeah, it'll be good or it's going to suck. Well, we'll see what happens. But you just hyped it up. Come on. You can't talk about it's going to be a flop.
But hey, man, it's not due to be released until later in 2026, which is, they're saying September. So we'll see if it actually hits that.
Yeah, we got so much stuff coming out next year, man. It's going to be insane. Your New Year's resolution to buy less is going to fall far short, man.
I know. I was
with the Megadeth coming out, and we got all this stuff. Anthrax is going to be coming out.
Merciful Fate is supposed to be having one in 2026. I was looking at a list, actually, when I was kind of just going through albums that came out in 2025, just so I could make a list of, shit that I bought that was new this year. And then they had a list of stuff that was due to come out. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot coming out.
I know King's Diamonds is rumored to be next year too. And I'm hoping it'd be nice if both of those saw the light of day next year. King's not getting any younger.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. That King Diamond album keeps getting pushed out, but hopefully with Merciful Fate, because it's not just his band. Maybe the other people are like, hey, we got to get something out, and I'm broke.
Yeah, we spent all this money recording and writing and writing and writing and recording and pushing things out. So yeah, this will be Down's 4th studio album. I was looking at their discography here because they got 2 EPs and a live album, but so far only 3. 2007 was their last full length release.
Yeah, and that was right after Hurricane Katrina. But I think,
and 2014 was the last EP.
I think their first 2 are just, those are the real gems of the Down collection.
You know, do you have Diary of a Mad Band?
I have the CD and DVD set.
How is that?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I should look into that.
I feel like Phil's vocals are just a little rough, but I don't know. It's got a nice quality to it. So the video is cool.
That's from
the concert.
That's from 2010.
I should bust that one out. I haven't listened to that in a long time.
Yeah, that's a one on my list, man. Well, speaking of one that's on my list, David Ellefson has joined Metal Church, and they have dropped that first album, or their first song, I mean. And I really enjoy it. F-A-F-O. Fuck around, find out.
This show is naughty and might make you a potty mouth.
And they got a singer he's got a little bit of Blitz in him. He's got David Wayne in him, and maybe even just a sprinkling of Mike Howe in there. I really dig the guy's voice.
Yeah, I mean, it's you sent me the link, I believe. I listened to it. It's a cool song. I can't stand Dave Ellefson anymore. I don't know. This whole fucking deal with him, man. And then people just being like, well, she was legal. Listen, man, if I had a daughter who was 18 and some 60-year-old motherfucker was doing some sexual shit with her online, I would hunt that motherfucker down and cut his fucking legs off. You know what I'm saying? That's not like a 25-year-old or something. Like, this dude's fucking in his 60s.
I don't think his legs are the thing you should be worried about.
Yeah, well.
If you're cutting something off.
Anyways, I don't know. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the song is really good. I'm not a huge Metal Church fan, as I've said, but yeah, it rips, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good description of it. It rips. Yeah, I was very pleased. I was like, I enjoyed the last album, but I wasn't like really deep with the singer. It's like, oh, he's all right. He does a good job. But I've found I haven't really returned to that album after I bought it and listened to it a few times. Mark Lopez. But this guy, he brings the juice. I don't remember if they mentioned the band members in here or not, but I'm going to get through this piece here quick. So Metal Church are ready to enter their next era, and their reconfigured lineup now includes a thrash metal legend and a brand new frontman. The group have recruited former Megadeth bassist David Ellefson to join the band, while they've also settled in on Brian Allen, that's his name, as their dynamic new vocalist after recording their first post-Mike Howe album with Mark Lopez. And that to introduce that whole new lineup, the only thing that stayed the same was the guitar players. Of course, Kirk has to be in the band, and he did keep the guitar player, but it's all, everybody else is brand new. New drummer Ken Mary on drums, by the way. Journeyman Ken Mary, great freaking drummer, and which of course, Nate, you've heard on that song. So they have that single FAFO. So we got, there we go. Kurt Vanderhoof and Rick Van Zant. That's his name. That's the other guy's name. I wonder if he's related to the Florida Van Zants, from Skinnerd, 38 Special. Ellefson taking over bass from Steve Unger, and of course Brian Allen, and they do marry Ken Mary. I really like Stet Howland. Stet Howland was phenomenal. He's a beast. So I'm a little sad to see Stet go, but they at least got somebody who is definitely no slouch. I'm not sure what the issue was. Kurt was on the David Ellefson show and talked about the whole coming together, but after that last tour that they did with Mark Lopez, it sounded like the band was pretty much just breaking up. And then there was a rejuvenation, some talks, and there was like, you know what, we could put this back together, bring in a couple of names, and then they find this guy on vocals, and it just all clicked. So I'm very curious to hear this whole album and see if the band has legs going forward, because they've had their ups and downs. That Kurt even stopped touring with the band. He kind of went Brian Wilson on it and just would write music and then go, okay, now you guys go tour it, because I'm not fucking leaving my house, or I'm not leaving Seattle. And then of course he got back in with Mike Howe and well, even previous to that. But It'll be very curious to see how well this one does and how strong it is. But right now, the feedback that I've been seeing, and even from you, who you are not a metal church aficionado or a fan like I am, you were even pretty positive on this single that was released.
Yeah, I would say if the album is in this vein, it'll probably be the best, since
Blessing.
Yeah,
Blessing in Disguise.
I was trying to think of the name. I could picture that song, but yeah. Anyways, this whole FAFO thing, I see this all over now. It's just it's funny. I see dudes like in lifted trucks out here that have FAFO stickers, and I just look at them and I'm just like, God, I want to fuck around and find out so bad. You know what I mean? Because I just look at these dudes and I'm like, this motherfucker ain't got no fucking balls. He's got this big sticker on trying to bump his chest and he ain't fucking shit, But it's funny. I never really heard this term as widely used as I do now. I see it, like I said, fucking people got them in their stickers in their cars and all kinds of shit.
That must be a Denver thing because I haven't seen that here.
Yeah, we got the dudes with the lifted trucks out here that belch black smoke and they drive around all fucking hard trying to be hard and shit. I'm just like, oh my God, give me a fucking break.
It's the new age alpha male is what you're dealing with there, Nate.
Yeah.
You better respect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move on with a little respect for Silas Fernandes. He is formerly of Brazil and is in the United States, of course, now. I shouldn't say of course, but I'm reading that, so that's why I assumed everybody knew it. This is from the album Carbon Purge Acceleration. And before I mention the song, I do want to mention this history, which is, all right, I'm going to read this how I got it from the press release. Silas Fernandes began in music as a teenager playing in the heavy metal band of the legendary metal scene in the ABC region in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in a band named Esfinge, along with Andreas Kisser, who would later become the guitarist for Sepultura. Formed out of Fernandes's departure from a cover band with Andreas in the 1980s, his solo career has been defined by innovation and independence. So this has a pretty broad sound of this album. So if you're even remotely interested and maybe you want a heavy metaler version of what this guy can do, definitely check out the album. I was drawn to this track particularly, and I thought this is the one I want to share. It's instrumental. The name of the song, of course, which also is very catchy. John Hughes Didn't Direct My Life is the name of the song. So here you go. A little Silas Fernandes.
No Cavalera, no Sepultura.
All right, there you go. Silas Fernades. John Hughes Didn't Direct My Life from Carbon Purge Acceleration. And shout out to Asher Media for hooking us up with that.
Slipknot's lost album, Look Outside Your Window, confirmed for 2026 release. Clown promises it's just simply time.
Do you remember us talking about this years ago?
I don't really.
I feel like we did, and it was, I don't know if it was ever confirmed or if it was just simple rumors, but when I saw this story, I was like, yeah, that rings a bell for some reason. I just don't remember if you and I talked about it.
I don't know if I'm excited about it or not. You know, Slipknot's been hit or miss. Some stuff I love, some stuff I could do without.
Well, and this is something completely different.
Yeah, after nearly 2 decades of rumors, false starts, and missed deadlines, Slipknot percussionist Sean Clown Cron has issued a definitive update regarding the band's unreleased album, Look Outside Your Window. During a live Q&A session with fans on Discord yesterday, the musician apologized for previous delays and officially flagged 2026 as the year the project will finally see the light of day. The update came as Crahan engaged with the community.
Crayon?
What's that?
Is it Crayon?
Crayon? Maybe.
I'm not sure.
Engaged with the community to celebrate the launch of his new Minecraft venture, Vernearth. Addressing the frustration surrounding the album, which has achieved near mythical status among the fan base, Crayon offered a direct pledge. Let's start with Look Outside Your Window. I know I told everyone it would be this year. I'm very sorry it hasn't. Things come to play that change things all the time with the art we create. I want you to know 2026 is the year. It's just simply time, and I'm getting tired of waiting myself. Have faith, I promise. The album's history is unique with the band's discography. Recorded in 2008 alongside with sessions for All Hope Is Gone, the material was not created by the full 9-member lineup. Instead, it was the production of experimentation by Cron, vocalist Corey Taylor, guitarist Jim Root, and DJ Sid Wilson, who worked in a separate studio while the rest of the band recorded the main album. The result is a collection of 11 songs that purportedly deviate significantly from Slipknot's signature aggression. Vocalist Corey Taylor has previously described the sound as having a Radiohead vibe, distinct from the heavy metal for which the band is known. So, I don't know. I suppose I'll check it out.
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I don't think this was a pre-order for me, especially with the Radiohead descriptor on that.
Yeah.
Unless it all sounds like Creep. I like that song.
For Slipknot, I like their most aggressive stuff. So, I don't know. If they're venturing away from that, that's what their magic is, in my opinion.
This almost seems like it's a Stone Sour album from the sounds of it.
Right.
Which Jim Root is in Stone Sour as well. So I don't know if this is maybe Slipknot's take on Stone Sour. I'm definitely interested in hearing it, and I'd be more than happy to purchase it if it's good. Well, here's one I didn't expect, Nate. This one came completely blindsided me. Rainbow. They are releasing a 9 CD, The Temple of the King, from 1975 through 1976 box set. It's funny because it's 9 CDs, but it's 1 year or 2 years, I guess, if you want to go through the complete of 76. But that's scheduled for March. So this one just kind of came out of nowhere. I had no clue that Richie was even interested in doing any of this stuff, or at least giving permission for somebody to do something like this.
They've got 4 albums, right, including their live one, but they've got a 9 CD box set. Oh, I know. I mean, I guess Rainbow, I was thinking about the Dio era because, of course, they went on to do other albums.
Well, this is the Dio era because 75 through 76, that's the Dio years. And that's another surprising thing is this is just the Dio years. You're not going to get any other vocalists on this CD set. So I don't know if it's part of him making amends for his problems with Dio in the past and maybe not pursuing Dio as a vocalists going forward in their careers. I know Dio wasn't happy in Rainbow when Richie's like, we need like love songs, we need radio songs, and Dio's like, that's not what I do.
I know, and that's so weird because he left Deep Purple because he wanted to continue to play the heavier stuff. Richie Blackmore.
Yeah. So here's what they wrote up on this one. It says, Rainbow, The Temple of the King, 75 through 76 is the most comprehensive collection of the opening phase of Rainbow's career to date, and is the first in a series of anthology sets covering the career of legendary guitarist Richie Blackmore. The 9 CD set, newly remastered by Andy Pierce and Matt Wortham, is housed in a deluxe 7-inch packaging featuring a 24-page booklet featuring memorabilia, photos, and sleeve notes by music writer Rich Davenport. The set spans the band's first 2 years and includes their debut album, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, their breakthrough record, Rising, and the extended German concerts that were compiled as part of the double live album On Stage. The final 2 discs comprise rare recordings, many of which are featured on CD for the first time, including band rehearsals, single edits, and rough mixes. As you may know, Rainbow was initially formed as a Ritchie Blackmore solo project in the early months of 1975 after a Deep Purple tour of the previous year. On that tour, they were supported by the American band, Elf, E-L-F. The singer of Elf, Ronnie James Dio, left an impression on the already legendary guitarist Blackmore. Blackmore asked him to sing on a cover of the song Black Sheep of the Family. The sessions went so well that a full album began to take shape, with Blackmore and Dio collaborating on original songs. Blackmore had such foresight on this project, he solely financially funded the whole work and thus began the mystical world of Rainbow. The resulting record, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, was recorded between February and March in 1975 at Musicland Studios in Munich, Germany. With Blackmore's composing prowess and Dio's mystical lyrics, the band was set to take fans to a new level. The Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow was a top 15 hit in the UK and a top 30 in US, which was such a positive experience that in the summer of 75, Ritchie Blackmore left Deep Purple to commit himself fully to Rainbow. Now, Nate, does that sound a little bit different from what we were told, or is it just broken in my brain where I thought he quit Deep Purple and then formed Rainbow?
That's kind of what I thought too, but I guess I don't know. I'm not that deep into the details of their history.
So yeah, I thought that was a bit of interesting information, and maybe I just don't remember the history. But yeah, I thought, oh, well, he was so convinced, like, oh, here's my future. See ya. So recruiting bassist Jimmy Bain, keyboard player Tony Carey, and ex-Jeff Beck group drummer Cozy Powell, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow undertook their first tour. By 76, the band name has been shortened to Rainbow, and the second album, Rising, was recorded in February of that year, once again at Musicland. Rising, with this iconic sleeve of a fist holding a rainbow in a mystical scene, only features 6 tracks, including 2 epic compositions on side 2, one of which, Stargazer, is widely regarded as a Rainbow classic and a landmark in hard rock.
It's probably one of my favorite Rainbow tunes.
Yeah, it slams. The original mystical stylings are often touted as the first neoclassical metal band. It was the perfect melding of Ritchie's guitar wizardry and Ronnie's soaring, powerful vocals. So I'm going to leave the rest to your imagination if you want to read more. Of course, you can always head to the show notes, dotwpod.com. I haven't mentioned that. That's another way you can connect with Silas Fernandes, too, if you want to get more of his music, is dotwpod.com. So, yeah, and it does break down what's on each CD. So 1 and 2 is pretty much you're getting the CDs, and then CD 3 is where you're getting into those live shows from Cologne in 76 on the first one, and then the first 2, and then the next 2 is Dusseldorf, part 1 and part 2. And then we go into a different Nuremberg, Messen Hall. And there's a part 1 and a part 2 to that. And there's also some rarities on that second disc, which is Getaway. Interesting. It's Getaway, and in parentheses, Kill the King, studio rehearsals for the 76 World Tour. Mistreated, studio rehearsals for the 76 World Tour, 16th Century Green Sleeves, and that was a studio rehearsal for that 76 tour, and Catch a Rainbow from that exact same thing. So those are ones that have not ever been released in the past. And then there's the CD9, which has rarities, but none of those are flagged as previously unreleased. And I know I got that final vinyl, so I wonder if some of this is on final vinyl, but
I'm kind of curious about some of these mono versions of, like, especially of Starstruck.
So you think you might buy this?
I don't know if I'm going to buy a whole box set for that album. And I don't really buy CDs that much anymore, but
yeah, I thought about that when I put this in. I'm like, well, I don't know if they'll do a vinyl or not, but that might make Nate not want to buy it if it's only on CD.
I think it'll probably be available on streaming as well. I'm betting.
Good point.
Where I can hear a fucking dumbed down version of it. Well, we talked about this a little bit because you got tickets for it, but Testament is going on tour with Overkill and Destruction, and it's going to be called Thrash of the Titans. Yeah, I mean, it's not just in metal, but like, hip hop too. This year Wu-Tang came out with a new album. Mobb Deep came out with a new album, and which was a posthumous release because Prodigy passed away some years ago. Nas and DJ Premier just put out a new album, and Ghostface Killer with Supreme Clientele 2, all fucking amazing hip hop albums, and they're all the old school people. You know what I mean? And it's the same with thrash, like Overkill, Testament. These guys are still putting out just fucking killer thrash albums. And I'm just actually was thinking about this right after you had sent me the link to the tour, that is thrash metal actually going to continue on when these bands stop? Because there's other thrash bands that have come out, but as a genre, none of them even come close to lining up with the OGs. You know what I mean? I wonder if it's even going to survive as a genre long term. Well,
even some of those artists, they evolved out of it. Now they're back into it, of course, like Megadeth and Metallica. Metallica's never going to return to a thrash band.
No.
As much as they try to create somewhat of a thrashy sound with their newer releases, it's not the same energy. It's not the same. The guitars aren't even distorted. It's made to be played in stadiums. So they kind of dumb down the guitar sound to make it so it's more palatable to the stadium audience.
And really, even of the thrash bands, Metallica was probably the lightest weight. Not to discredit their awesome thrash albums, by the way, but just in comparison to Megadeth or Slayer or any of those, they were even on the light end back in those days. But yeah, I don't, bands like Evil or
Havoc.
Yeah, I just can't see any of those guys putting out the killer albums that the original thrash people did. But these guys are the ones who came out with that genre, so they've just continued to be the best. Testament frontman Chuck Billy said 2026 looks like it's going to start with an explosion with the Thrash of the Titans tour. Joining us will be our metal brothers Overkill and Destruction. Our friendship has almost reached 4 decades. This is going to be a thrash metal show you don't want to miss. Overkill vocalist Bobby Blitz Ellsworth states, March can't come soon enough. We are stoked to be part of this killer package that will lay waste to the states. Let's get this show on the road. Destruction bassist Schmeier adds, this killer news, the Thrash of the Titans tour is finally hitting America. So many fans have been shouting for this, and now it's happening. The best tours happen when you roll with bands you respect, bands you can raise hell with, and when the bill just hits hard. So tickets went on sale a couple days ago here. They went on sale December 19th. And they're hitting a lot of places: Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Florida, Texas. They got a number of different Texas shows, Arizona, and a couple of California shows.
Oh, wow. That final one has no Overkill in Berkeley on my birthday, April 10th.
Well, don't go to that one then, because Overkill is the draw.
Not. Maybe my wife's surprising me with a private concert in my backyard.
Exactly. They're playing your backyard party. You weren't supposed to know.
Shit. You spoiled it for me, Nate.
Testament's latest album, Parabellum, came out October 10th. Overkill is scheduled to enter the studio before the end of the year to begin recording the follow-up to the band's latest album, Scorched, which came out in April 2023. In August 2024, Overkill confirmed Jeremy Kling as the group's new drummer. Kling joined the veteran New Jersey thrash metal outfit as a replacement for Jason Bittner, who announced his exit from Overkill earlier that month.
And Destruction had a release also in 2025, March of 2025, The Birth of Malice. I kind of forgot about that. I did play No Kings, No Masters. Oh, looks like they do a cover of Fast as a Shark, too. That's interesting.
I'm going to have to make a note of that.
Check that out.
Because I did not listen to that one album. The only Destruction I have is Sentence of Death, which was basically their first album, which was I think it was just a 4-song EP, but it's considered like a precursor to black metal. And I never really got into them much later. They're German, right? German thrash.
Yeah.
So
part of the Teutonic Four. What are you talking about? Come on.
And they didn't probably do that cookie cutter creator sound.
But they've been going strong, man. They've been releasing, how many studio albums does it say? Doesn't say. Oh, here we go. 16 studio albums. They're right up there with Overkill territory, Nate. 4 EPs, 5 live albums. So yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at. Infernal Overkill was their first major or big album, which came out the year after that one you were talking about, that EP, Sentenced to Death.
Yeah.
That came out in November of 84. I dig some Destruction myself. I don't go deep with Destruction, but I have to go listen to that one, especially if it can be considered one of my top albums. I'll see if it can hold up with anything else that's going to be on my list.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to check it out for the same reason, because I made a big list of stuff that I missed, and I've been going through it. Like Halloween, I sent you a message saying, hey, the Halloween that came out this year was actually quite a bit better than I expected. I thought I was going to listen to a couple songs and shut it off, and I ended up listening to the whole album. So, I mean,
nice.
it's nothing like a Keeper of the Seven Keys. You know, I mean, they're nowhere near that era, but it was better than what stuff I've heard as of late. Yeah,
I definitely got to get into that one again. I sampled a little bit of it, but I need to put my ears to the grindstone and really get to it. All right, next up, we're going to go to another independent intermission here. We're going to play for you some Mezzrow. These guys hail from Sweden. This is from the album Embrace the Awakening. The song that I selected is The Moment to Arise. Check it out. All right, there you go. That was Mezzrow. And thanks to Vlad Promotion for sending that to us. That album was released in November of last year, or this year, sorry. We're still in 2025, Nate. I'm already projecting ahead to 2026 with all these albums that we're looking forward to. I'm so excited that I jumped ahead in time. And I'm completely stone sober.
I found my notes actually about some of the albums I took note of, and so, like Electric Wizard has one coming out in 2026, and it's supposed to be their final album. Maiden, Merciful Fate, and Triptychon's got something coming out, which I'm interested in checking out. So then other ones that we've talked about as well.
Mayhem too, don't they?
Yep, Mayhem's got a new one coming out. Yeah, yep, it's going to be a good year in metal.
Yes. So don't forget, kids, if you want to check out these bands that we've been playing, or show notes, or any of the news articles, if you want to dig a little deeper, or go pre-order that Richie Blackmore Rainbow box set, you can find all that links at DotWpod.com. Go check out these bands, support these bands, give them a like, go buy some of their albums, whatever you can do to support them. And, of course, that's the news.
You're dead.
If you're in a band and you'd like to be considered to be played, it's getting tough on the Disciples of the Watch podcast, please email us at dotwpod@gmail.com just to keep it safe. You can always, if you have us in your address book as music at dotwpod.com, that still works for the time being until GoDaddy decides to bend us over the couch and do us dirty. But for the time being, I'm sorry to paint that mental picture, but for the time being, we're always going to have our dotwpod@gmail.com. And don't forget, stay tuned to this feed. Subscribe if necessary. We got all sorts of good stuff that's going to be coming out. Of course, Nate, we just did our Kiss worst to best. I got some feedback from one of my coworkers. He wanted to know what tummy sticks was.
Tummy sticks? Oh, yeah. Did you explain it?
I did explain it once I stopped laughing. I haven't laughed that hard in such a long time. I had tears coming out of my eyes.
Funny.
Just the way he looked at me. He's like, oh, that Kiss one was great. Oh, but what's the same thing with tummy sticks? Oh, so if you want to find out what tummy sticks are, I suppose you could always Google it, but check out our Kiss Worst Events. We had some great contributors on that one. Had a lot of fun. Nate and I don't run deep with Kiss, but we do appreciate some of their music. And we also appreciate everybody that contributed, because that was a lot of fun. And we got a couple of independent music specials also that are available. And I have one more coming out for December, which I'm currently working on, but I can't get that done until I make sure I've got all the releases for December. And of course, Time Travel Radio 1983 Part 1. Well, the public Part 1. We have one that's available on our Patreon. So if you want to support us and you want to hear the radio hits from 1983 that I selected, that is available as a Patreon only release on our Patreon. If you can find that at dotwpod.com, of course, and other ways to support us. But now, Nate, we got to get to our final talker. I'm turning the mic over to you.
I found a list that's the 10 amazing metal albums that followed controversial ones with a subtitle of Don't Call It a Comeback. I don't know. It's not like a super mind-blowingly exciting list, but it's kind of interesting. There's some good albums on here. And the first one here, I kind of forget about it from time to time, but I did listen to it actually when I read the list here. And that's
great album.
Kicking it off with Iron Maiden's Brave New World. Let's get this masterpiece out of the way. It's the best heavy metal comeback ever, but they just said don't call it a comeback. A phenomenal return to form thanks to Iron Maiden's reunion with Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith, along with the welcoming of Janet Gears. Brave New World is one of the best metal albums of the 2000s, and it followed one of the worst albums of the 90s, the disastrous Virtual 11. I don't know my Roman numerals well. Brave New World, just packed with classics from the epic Ghost of the Navigator to the seriously underrated The Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
That is a banger. That was awesome. When that came out, I was like, oh my God, Iron Maiden is fucking back, man. Because I did buy those Blaze Bayley albums, and it was like, oh my God, this is, he's a fine vocalist. He's just not an Iron Maiden vocalist. So when they got back with Bruce, and then they came out with this album, it actually kind of set a bar that they haven't reached since with their anything that's followed this.
Yeah, it's we did a track by track on it, and when I was listening to it, I was remembering sitting at my kitchen table doing the track by track, working on it and stuff. It kind of took me back. Actually, it was interesting, but yeah, there's some good ones on there. Exodus next up is Temple of the Damned. Maybe Exodus.
Did Gary Holt write this?
He did. No.
Son of a bitch.
Maybe Exodus were smart to sit out most of the 90s. Impact is Imminent from 1990 is a decent record, but 1992's Force of Habit was a serious downturn for one of the thrash's most vicious bands. Flash forward 12 years later, and holy fuck, the boys were back. Gary Holt and Tom Hunting weren't fucking around on Temple of the Damned, and it's one of the best guitar-drum chemistry ever captured on a metal album. That's some high praises.
Jeepers, yeah. That's why I wonder if Gary wrote that.
I won't even dig into it because I'm not a fan of Exodus too much, as we've talked a lot about. They got a little bit of good stuff, but for as much as popularity as they have, man, they're not the one for me, man.
Same. But you're going to cry when you hear the new album.
Right. Because Gary's cried about it. Maybe it'll be good. Who knows? Blood. I like Blood in, Blood Out. So
I hope it's smokes everything they've done since
Pleasures of the Flesh.
Yes, thank you.
All right, next up we got Opeth, which is a band I think you're more familiar with than I am, and that's the Pale Communion album. Remember how controversial Opeth's heritage was? Michael Ackerfeld delivered arguably the best gutturals ever put to tape on 2008's Watershed, only to shed the vocal style entirely in 2011. It was a tragic time for extreme metal, but goddamn, Opeth really delivered on 2014's Pale Communion. The album is just so unapologetically proggy and gorgeous that it brought some closure to the great guttural debate. 10 years later, and Faith in Others still makes my eyes misty.
I'm trying to rack my brain on this one. I don't think I cared for this one.
I read about them a lot and hear about them a lot, and every time I try to dip in, I don't know. Maybe I should just start from the beginning and go through it and see.
Yeah, I think you might dig some of that early stuff, and maybe these later ones, I'm not sure. But for me, when they started to get kind of in the artsy years, that for me is where I thought, oh, this is really cool. That's where they got me.
Okay, and it sounds like some people fell off then. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense.
So they kind of pulled a Metallica where they changed their sound and gained a whole bunch of new fans, but they lost a bunch of people who were like, well, we like the way it used to be. So it sounds like this guy in particular who wrote this piece, Gary Holt, sounds like he's really liking this return to form on that one. I do. And yeah, I would say check out some of that earlier stuff. Start early on those guys, Nate. But yeah, Sorceress. Yeah, I did like Sorceress. I forgot about that. That came 2 years after Pale Communion.
Yeah, maybe I'll give them another run.
Definitely worth your time.
I don't know. This next one, I know a lot of people like it. This one, I really want to like it because Dave Lombardo is the drummer on it, but it's not a strong Testament album for me. But the next one up is Testament the Gathering.
Wow.
Harbinger for the great thrash renaissance of 2000s. Testament's The Gathering might be the most purely brutal thrash album ever. The production is so fucking heavy. Chuck Billy is practically doing gutturals. Dave Lombardo's drumming is malevolent as ever. Steve DiGiorgio is a ridiculous gift. We just don't deserve this record, guys. The Gathering blows Testament's previous album Demonic out of the water in every way. Where Demonic was ultimately forgettable in its death metal influence, The Gathering was a home run. I will say I do like it better than Demonic. So for the purpose of this discussion, with them coming out, a good album after a bad one, I guess I would agree with that on this one.
But it doesn't seem like such a disparaging, like when they started with the Iron Maiden one, that set a bar of like from dog shit to like fucking a gold trophy.
Yeah.
And this version or this here, even the Exodus comparison, it's like, you're almost comparing apples to apples in a fashion. Or maybe just a different fruit, apple to banana or something.
Yeah, totally. It's not as extreme of a difference.
No.
Yeah, this next one too, of course, I know this was a big one for you. This is Overkill's Ironbound. Overkill's career took the opposite direction to a lot of classic thrash bands. They actually made a ton of great stuff in the 90s, only to start losing their necro shine in the 2000s, minus Killbox 13. But when 2010s came along, Iron fucking bound. What an unbelievable return to form this was, especially after what was likely their worst album, 2007's Immortalis. Ironbound is just packed with fun, thrashing tracks like Bring Me the Night and Give Me a Little, and it's really proved to be a springboard for Overkill's second act. I before talked a lot about how Immortalis for me was kind of a return to form for Overkill, but over time I would lean more in this direction where Ironbound is really, Immortalis isn't anything near as good as Ironbound. And
Agreed.
Because everything after this album they've been on a really fucking good run.
Yeah, this is one where they raise the bar and they keep fucking they're right at that bar, around that bar, sometimes maybe even above that bar. And that's what it was, is Ironbound really reset the heights that Overkill could do. Because, yeah, I agree. Some of that stuff that they were putting out is like, it's decent, it's Overkill, but it wasn't the like, I have to go listen to that album right now type of Overkill that Ironbound brought back to the band and everything since.
It blows my mind that Bobby's vocals are still so intense, and that dude's in his 60s, and he's still fucking ripped too. Like, you see him live, man, you know, the he's in shape, and he's just up there killing it. It's fucking, there's awesome. Probably one of the hardest working metal bands out there, I would say.
Agreed.
So I dabbled around with this band. They were on tour a lot with Megadeth, you know, in the early 2000s or whatever, maybe around that time. And I saw them a lot, and I kind of dove in a little bit, but then didn't really stick with it too much. But next up is Children of Bodom, and the album is Halo of Blood. It seemed like Children of Bodom were at a creative low with 2011's Relentless, Reckless Forever. There was some good riffs, and North Pole Throwdown was a fun closer, but the days of Follow the Reaper and Hatebreeder were long over. Then came Halo of Blood. It's not a top 3 Bodom album, but the neoclassical rip-roaring style returned along with stylish, crisp production. The title track rips so fucking hard, and just listen to those solos at the end of One Bottle and A Knee Deep. This album is criminally underrated. So I'm familiar with, you know, Hatebreeder for sure, and possibly Follow the Reaper, but I'd have to kind of go back and listen to some of this stuff.
Yeah, I need to give that band some due.
Good, you know, great musicianship for sure.
Yep.
Okay, here's another classic good album following a bad one. This one's more along the bar of the Iron Maiden one we were just talking about, and that's Megadeth's Dystopia. They called it Pooper Collider. Megadeth's 2013 album was simply awful, as is a significant portion of the band's 21st century discography. Endgame absolutely cooks, though. Was the great Dave Mustaine still able to thrash at the highest level imaginable? The thought was maybe no, but goddamn, Dystopia is a slap in the face to those doubters. It was the perfect theme at the perfect time, with the band's strongest lineup since the 90s, an absolute modern classic. No disputing that. That's a killer album.
Yep, definite growth from the previous release.
Next up is Autopsy with Macabre Eternal. When your new album's cover is just a dude with a turd in his mouth, it's probably time to take a break. Shit Fun isn't as bad as some Autopsy fans will argue, but it's definitely the band's low point. It took 16 years for a new Autopsy record to come out, and in 2011, the utterly depraved Macabre Eternal proved there was still plenty more violence to go around. It's right up there with Severed Survival and Mental Funeral. Not big on Autopsy. I got one of their records on vinyl, but I'm not even familiar. Don't listen to it.
Nor I.
Next up is Creator's Violent Revolution. No disrespect to Creator, but 1999's Endorama is Saint Anger level awful. It was one of those classic Identity Crisis albums that so many thrash bands put out in the 90s. The new millennium, however, Creator went back to their hateful roots with the phenomenal return to form Violent Revolution. Produced to perfection by the incomparable Andy Sneap, Violent Revolution is an all-guns-blazing modern classic, such a killer record, and so much fun to listen to.
I agree.
And to close this out is one of the all-time classic metal albums, and that is Judas Priest with Painkiller. Here's your hot take for the list. Turbo is infinitely better Judas Priest album than Ram It Down. Now here's what we can agree on. Painkiller is a goddamn masterpiece that should be mounted in the Smithsonian. We good? There's no metal album that says we still got it quite like Painkiller. While Ram It Down felt cliche and listless, Painkiller was the genuine article that still rips harder than 99% of all metal albums before or since.
Nice.
This was, I mean, you know, we've talked about this many times on the show here that, yeah, this album for me is just this is what really made me love Judas Priest at all. Cause I liked some Judas Priest, but this is when this came out, I was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. So yeah. And Ram It Down.
I slept on this one
compared to this.
Yes. Agreed. And I think I agree. I think Turbo, if I remember correctly, is a better album than Ram It Down.
Oh, definitely. And that one gets ripped on a lot. Turbo does.
Yes.
I think it's not as it's not as timeless as like Defenders of the Faith or
Agreed.
Painkiller or some of the other really good Priest albums, but I enjoy it. It's catchy. And I don't know, Ram It Down was kind of a carryover from the Turbo era, I believe.
Yes.
So almost like maybe
and a lot of the personal problems that the band was having too carried over. Because that I think it was a letdown for the hardcore Priest fans, and it didn't really do much to draw in new people. But I think Turbo has kind of aged better, and I think it's kind of had a little bit more of a renaissance as far as like people maybe going back to it and saying, you know what, it's not as bad. But I think it was just the problem was they wanted more of what came previous to it, and they didn't get it. Judas Priest was looking for that 80s sound. They wanted to be that 80s band, and they kind of alienated their fan base with these two albums. So when you can kind of go back and go, Turbo wasn't too bad, but Painkiller was them just going, okay, you want fucking Judas Priest? Here comes Judas fucking Priest. We can keep up with the little guys, the new kids on the block. And they did with Painkiller.
Yeah. And I would say of this whole list, this is my favorite of all of the ones that have been called out on this list. So
you have to pick a favorite. I'd have to go with Ironbound.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that could be a little tough with Ironbound, but
yeah, both are fucking kick-ass albums.
Painkiller was a big album for me though when it came out. I listened to this a lot. I remember working at Rack's Roast Beef, and I'd be closing in the back, and I'd have this fucking cranked up back there while I was doing dishes and shit.
Did you work with Jeff there?
Yes. He was a manager.
Nice.
And Bob, I worked with Bob too.
I almost worked there. I forgot that Bob worked there. I almost worked there. Actually, I got the job, and I quit Burger King to go work at Rack's. You remember Burger King was kitty corner across the Highway 13
that
there?
Burger King was my very first job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was working two jobs at the time. I was a dishwasher in Prior Lake at Lakers, and I was working at Burger King at the time. And then when I turned 16 and they gave me a 10-cent raise, I was like, I'm going to fucking get out of this fucking joint. So I went across the street to Rack's, and then I told my teacher at school for the work program, I said, got myself a job at Rack's. I'm moving over to Rack's. He said, you can't work there. I'm like, what do you mean I can't work there? I already got the job. And he's like, no, your friend works there. I'm not going to have you working there. And I'm like, the other people work jobs with people they're friendly with that are on the work program, and he wouldn't let me do it. So he's like, I'm getting you a different job. And I'm like, you fucking kidding me? So I got a job. He got me a job at McDonald's off of Nicollet there, far on the other side of Burnsville, 42 there. And I went in there, and they gave me the job, and they said, but before you start, you have to cut your hair because it touches your collar.
I remember that.
I'm like,
those days.
How is it that the girls can tie their hair up, and I can't even tie my hair up. It's not that long. It just happens to touch my collar, and I'm interested in growing it out. I'm 16. I want to make my own decisions. And I went in for my first day, and they said, you didn't cut your hair. And I said, no, I didn't. They said, well, you can't work until you cut your hair. So I said, okay. So I walked over to the Burnsville Center, and then I don't remember if I got a call or if I just went to school the next day, but the teacher had gotten a call, and he's like giving me shit. And I said, well, I got a job lined up at the go-kart track. You remember that over there by Rack's? I got a job there. And he says, I'm not going to let you work there. That's dangerous. I'm like, you let my fucking friend work at a tow truck. Come on. I'm going to be fucking working kiddie rides or some shit. The teacher was just a complete ass, and he called me lazy and said I didn't want to work. I'm like, I've got fucking jobs lined up. I've had two of them that you won't let me work at. Plus, I'm still a fucking dishwasher at Lakers. I'm working two jobs, motherfucker, and you're a punk ass teacher for fucking Nicollet Junior High, you cocksucker. So I quit school.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was in the work program too. And I think that they just put people in that they were like, this guy's not going to be academic. You know what I mean? I still didn't pass ninth grade. I switched schools. Even I only had to go part of the day, right? Because you went to work program. But I switched schools, and they're like, you didn't pass ninth grade, but we're going to bump you into the next grade anyways. So I don't know. That was a tough time, but I had fun working at Rack's. And I had a friend that worked at that go-kart track and got all fucking involved in drugs and shit, you know, because when you're a teenager and that's your friends start doing that, that's kind of a big deal, you know what I mean? So I still remember that. I hadn't myself started dabbling around with drugs at that point, so I was like, oh fuck, man, you know, my friends all getting fucked up now. But yeah, he was hanging out with these carnies and shit that worked at that go-kart track, and I got all fucking into some shit. Yep.
Well, maybe Mr. Berger saved me from that a life of
was that who the
drugs and drudgery.
That name rings a bell. Like all the years, you know, in school, man, I do not remember teachers' names, but that now that you say that name, I bet you it was the same person, same teacher for that program.
Most likely, yeah, because I think he was the only work program teacher. I think that they only needed one. His wife was the German teacher, Frau Berger. She was one of the 2 German teachers.
Crazy.
And I had her for my second year of German. She was nice. I liked her. But I don't remember any of the German class, but he taught me that not all teachers care. He was a fucking clown. I couldn't believe it. When he told me I was lazy, I'm like, I'm working 2 fucking jobs, or I'm trying to work a second job. You fucking idiot.
You know what's funny back then about the hair? Like you couldn't wear hats and shit in school either. Like it was really strict about all that stuff. And now like people go to work and they look like they just rolled right out of the fucking ditch and went to work. I mean, like reeking like fucking BO and stained up clothes. And I'm just like, I see some people at work nowadays, and I'm even in like fairly professional settings, and I'm like, wow, society has changed. Cause like when we were young, if you were a boy, you couldn't have fucking long hair. And in a lot of jobs.
I know. And we're talking it was the fucking 80s. It's like, come on, we're not in the 60s or the 70s where, you know, hippies use the back door and shit like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was the rule. Oh, if you want to work at the fucking Great Golden Arches, your hair can't touch your collar. Suck my dick. I make more money than you now, motherfucker.
Yeah, I always had trouble with wanting to wear hats. They always make me take a hat off. I remember wearing a Sam Hain t-shirt to high school. I had to turn it inside out. You know, I remember kids wearing the Overkill Fuck You shirt too a lot, and they got hassled for that a lot. But yeah, it's so like, man, I don't even know. Teachers don't even have any authority over kids anymore, I don't think, in school. It's crazy.
No, they don't have to be hard asses either.
True.
Teachers, that is, or the school system.
I hated school.
But back to...
It was trauma, man. I blacked out most of that part of my life. But Judas Priest came out while I was in high school, and that is definitely a standout.
Absolutely. Well, we need to finish with a song. We need to finish this episode. It's nice kind of reminiscing about Rack's roast beef and all that. Oh, I miss that place. Their shakes were fucking awesome.
They had a good salad bar and stuff, too. I don't know. The food there was fairly decent.
That's true.
You know, like, I don't know. Fast food itself wasn't quite as disgusting as it is today. You know.
Yeah, agreed. And Rack's was pretty top notch. Those roast beef sandwiches were freaking phenomenal. I'm glad I didn't work there. Maybe I would have got fatter. I don't know.
Yeah. Roast beef that came in a bag.
As nature intended it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we got to finish with the song here, Nate. And we got to finish this episode. What have you selected for us to go out
Well,
on?
you know, there's some good ones on here. So, and I didn't want to go with the cliche one. So I picked Iron Maiden. I'm going to go with The Wicker Man. I know they do that one live fairly often from Brave New World. It was tough between that or Painkiller or Ironbound, you know, picking a song from one of those albums. But I don't know. I listened to this Maiden and I was like, yeah, I kind of forget. This is a really good one. So we're going to roll out with The Wicker Man.
Absolutely. Great track, great album, great return to form for Iron Maiden. Definitely a cool list that you found there, Nate. That's pretty cool. Going on a high note with some Iron Maiden, Brave New World, Wicker Man. And until next time, my friends,
stay heavy.
Time was
No Cavalera, no Sepultura.
Thank you for listening to Disciples of the Watch. This episode was produced by Gene Vogel and Nathan Matnich. All music is property of the artist or the publisher. Please buy music and support the art we all love. Editing on this episode was done by Gene Vogel. Check out our website, dotwpod.com, for show notes, links, and more information on the show, as well as connections to social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the show using your preferred podcast application, or use our FeedBurner RSS feed listed on our website. Plug it into your browser or whatever app you're using, and then you will get all of the goodness moving forward. And you can also download the show as MP3 files from dotwpod.com. If you'd like to support the show, please click on the support us link at our website. As well, we have Patreon, so you can do a monthly contribution if you so desire, or purchase some of our merch from our website. Thank you for listening, friends, and stay heavy.